Hello and welcome back to another video. I thought today we can look back at some of my old GCSE artwork. So GCSE year is year 11, I believe, in the UK, which means I was about 15-16 years old. And in America I think that's 10th grade sophomore. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I thought we'd look back at my old sketchbook. I think I've got a previous video where I've looked at my art as a whole for those GCSE years, but this is just specifically the sketchbook. And yeah, so I think I got an A star, I think, in this. I worked really hard at this, and I remember in our first lesson seeing all the sketchbooks from the previous years and seeing them really thick and full, and I really wanted to make my sketchbook look like that, so I put a lot of 3D elements into my pages for each kind of project that we did. So yeah, anyway, let's just get into it. Let's stop waffling on. So this is actually a pink pig sketchbook, which I think is made in Huddersfield in West Yorkshire, which is not too far from where I am at the moment. So the first thing that we started learning was how to use pencils properly, and we were learning kind of the hardness and softness of pencils, and how to create texture and patterns, etc. Nothing too exciting, and a lot of the things I've written in here seem very silly now I'm reading them back, but anyway, I was quite young. Yes, so it's like you can see, it's very much creating texture, trying to recreate things. This is a leaf in HB pencil. Oh, HB and then B and then 2B and then 4B. So tonal shading, apparently. It's not the best, but my teacher seemed to like it, so that's okay. Then we did a few mood boards. My mum loves gardening, so a lot of these mood boards are very flower themed. So there's a lot of kind of flower kind of magazine type cutouts in these. But yeah, very colourful, very nice. Then we started working in a little bit of ballpoint pen to do the same sort of things. So this is actually a technique that I use still now. I've got a sketchbook that I'm working on at the moment where I do kind of trees and the texture in the bark and things like that. So I kind of use the same techniques now. So it's good to know that I've retained that information somewhat. So in the sketchbook, we tended to, during for a couple of months, we'd work on studying an artist, let's say, and then we would do a spread in our sketchbook based on the artist, and then we would produce our own art based on a similar subject sort of thing. So we started off with the first artist being Gina Mikel, which she's a scientific illustrator from America and does botany, birds, fish, reptiles, that sort of things, and does a lot of like botanical artwork. So we usually would print out a bit of the artwork and try and replicate parts of it in our own styles, in various mediums. I think there was no real steer into what medium you would use for each of these pieces of artwork, but I tended to work in acrylics. It was probably my go-to medium back then. But yeah, so we try and make these spreads in our sketchbooks look a bit different. So I would use a lot of textures, so I've stuck down tissue paper here over the printed bit of information about the artist, etc. So again, some more of their art. I don't know why this has got tissue paper over it, but it does. And then lots of writing. I don't know why we needed to do that. Written analysis. Who knows? One of these annoying things that I feel is quite pointless in an art class, but anyway. And then this is me replicating the work, which I tried to look at what medium Gina Mikel used. Mikel? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, I tried to look at what medium they used for that piece of artwork and try to replicate it. So I did this in watercolours. I think I actually did a big piece of this as an actual piece of artwork, but I did that in acrylic, I believe. So going on to it, she did a little bit of graphite and ink work. So here I tried to mix it up. I did a title in foam and then painted it with stippling. I don't know. It's just making things a bit different. And then I actually found a leaf in the garden, tried to preserve it. Clearly have not done a very good job. But this was what the colour of that leaf used to be at some point. And then I printed out a piece of her art. We kind of did a piece where we'd replicate their artwork on one big piece of paper at least once in each spread or twice. So here I tried to do something a bit different where I'd cut out half the work and replicated the other side of it. to try and match it up. Again, my talents weren't that great back then, I don't think. Anyway, and then continuing the same theme, I got a bit obsessed with this tracing paper, but it's a really thick kind, which I loved, which my local art store, which is now closed down sadly, used to sell, and it used to be beautiful because you could see the artwork behind the text, and I thought that was a nice little spread. I wouldn't mind doing like a bit of an art journal like in this style actually. Maybe that's something we will start at some point. So anyway, yeah, and then we would be graded on the various spreads. So I got a 7A+, which I believe is an A star or an A. I don't know what the grade system was back then, but I think I got a good grade in that. Then we went on to Andy Goldsworthy, which I actually quite enjoyed. He is an artist that uses natural things, so he'll use rocks or string or leaves to create natural forms, similar to the golden number, I think it's called, or the golden ratio, where nature naturally forms in these kind of shapes that are all natural, and I don't know what it is, you'll have to search it. But yes, he used a lot of nature, so I tried to replicate that in my background. So here I stuck string down in kind of this wave pattern and then stippled over it to make it look like water, and then I used some rocks to make this shape here. These photos are really blurry, it's not very good, is it? Anyway, yeah, and then here I used leaves and I actually printed them with acrylic. I think in one of my feedbacks, my art teacher actually told me I used too much acrylic as my background, so yeah, but I enjoyed it, so screw him. Then here I used leaves. These are actually really colourful, like this picture here, but clearly they didn't last very long, which is, you know, obvious. They would not really last that long. This is terrible. Look at this. I've lined this and it doesn't even line up. Great. And then here I used some of my mum's birdseed just to line this and just create some texture, which is quite nice actually. Feels very nice. And then here, we went out in our lesson and found some leaves in the school grounds and did some art with them. Not the most spectacular stuff. And again, these photos are awful. They're so blurry. I can only imagine we took them and not the art teacher. But anyway, and then here I used some natural rope just to line this and again make it a bit thicker. I wanted all my page to be thick so that my sketchbook opened up rather than laid flat. And then again, got a grade. I got 7A+ again. I'm hoping that's a good grade. Yes. Yeah, I think it is. Anyway, then I think we moved on to a faces project. So again, another collage of faces. We've got some Jamie Oliver in there and some other people. Yeah, it's not the best collage, but it is what it is. Yeah, so we were learning how to structure a face. So we were doing the whole circle, and then there's 5 eyes fit in the width of the face. Do you know, all the lines where your lips match up with the corners and blah 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 blah. So we were learning how to do that sort of thing, and randomly a bit of watercolour blending. I don't know where that fits in with this project, but it does. And then I can't remember whether I found an artist that did this. So I was kind of replicating the style with a man and a woman, and then an eye. We're using a lot of lines rather than cross-hatching. I'm not sure, but I clearly didn't protect any of these pages very well because they've all smudged. And then we looked at Kathy A. Clawson. So this is actually one of my favourite artists we studied. She used kind of colour to project the, I want to say aura, I can't think of the word, of a person. So if someone was a bit moody or not happy, she would portray them in darker colours, etc., and vice versa. So I kind of, I used a bit of a 3D effect here. I don't know if you can see that. It's layers of different paper to create that. And then I replicated Abraham Lincoln. So I did this as a big piece as well. If you watch the other video, there's a big piece of artwork with Abraham Lincoln there. And these are the sort of things, and I think they are fantastic. I think a bit fiery on this one, blah blah. So I think I like this style, and I think it's really, really nice. I obviously I did two-page spreads for this artist, and that's all I really did. Obviously didn't have time to do any more than that. And then I tried to fill in the pages to make that spread a bit longer to get a better grade for this project. So I did some skin tones in watercolours, and I did a few sketches of facial features. By sketches, I did a sketch of a nose, an ear and a mouth, and that was it. And then wrote in not even big letters, facial features, like I was trying to fill this random blank piece of paper there. And I didn't even get a grade for that one. That's fabulous, isn't it? Then we moved on to the shoe project, which I absolutely hated again. Yeah, so again, another collage of some shoes. And then we went on to Madison Moore, who does a lot of shoe art, I believe. And I think after my feedback of using acrylic too much as my backgrounds, I tried to use different things. So I replicated some of Madison Moore's artwork here in wax, and then I painted over it with black watercolour to create the background and that kind of selling of water over things. And then I kind of talked about my choice between wax crayon and oil pastel. I'm not really sure, and I don't know why I did this awful writing in many colours, but I did. And then, oh, this is actually one of my favourite pieces of artwork. We had to replicate this Converse art that she did, where it was a painting of some really battered old red Converse high tops, and I replicated it in acrylics, and I absolutely love the way it turned out. I was really proud of this piece of artwork at the time, and to be honest, I think it still holds up pretty well. I really like it. So yeah, we did that, and then I did a few more studies. I did a study of the red shoes, which clearly I did not pick the right red. I think I did a crimson rather than a cadmium red for that. But yeah, I really like I hated this project, but I really like my replication of the artwork, to be honest. I think it looked quite nice. Then we went on to Mark Schwartz. So we actually studied two artists for this. He did a bit more abstract type art, so I was trying to make things a bit quirkier with my writing, with the backgrounds. This was actually the hardest thing I've ever done. I printed on some clear cellophane his name, but then I realised it just was not drying, so I had to reprint it, but print it backwards and then stick it on so that it wouldn't smudge. But anyway, I thought it looks quite nice over that background anyway. And then another replication of his artwork there in watercolours. And then, is that the final page? No, it's not the final page. Then I did this, which is awful. I don't know why I did this. I kind of printed out more examples of the work, and I was trying to display it a bit differently. So I did this flip through book, but weirdly I painted this, which I'm pretty sure I copied from some sort of Art Attack show. I don't know, the show or some sort of Art Attack. I don't know. Anyway, it looks awful, and I don't know why I did it. And then I was graded. I was graded by someone in the class who gave me a really bad grade, and I was a bit put out by it. And then my art teacher actually graded me after that and gave me a better grade. So then, oh, I missed a page. No. Then we moved on to this abstract art where we actually created kind of our own clay blocks. I can't remember. If you watch the other video, you'll have seen the clay blocks and all the patterns. It was just very patterny, and I wasn't really enjoying it, and this is all I did in this sketchbook in terms of a spread for it. I really neglected my sketchbook for that project, and that's about it for that. And then we moved on to, I think this is our final project, and I think we could choose our own artist. So I chose Carol, I can't even read that, Chrétien? Carol something. An American artist. She paints in oils and paints landscapes to animals and people. And I was doing a dog project at the time, and I really enjoyed my dog. I was painting my dog, I was painting other people's dogs, which is not dissimilar to what I do now. And I just really liked the artwork, and I thought, I found this beagle digging in the sand type piece of art, and I replicated it up here, and I had it where the beagle was actually digging Carol's name in the sand, I don't know. But I added this shadow underneath the beagle, which is on the original piece of artwork, but I've clearly changed the perspective, and I probably shouldn't have added this shadow there, but anyway. Replicated this piece of artwork here, and then I actually did it in a separate sketchbook because I wasn't unsure whether it was going to turn out very nice, and it did. So I kind of screwed up some tissue paper and stuck that in the background, and then stuck that over the top just to make it a bit different. Clearly went with the dog theme here and printed a lot of dog themed areas for my writing to go in. And then finally I just stuck some pictures of her artwork. I'm sure I probably was meant to do a lot more, but my goal of filling this to the brim really didn't pan out towards the end of the year, and that's all I really did in here. But yeah, I don't think it was bad. I think it could have been better, but it couldn't have been any worse, to be honest. And I think towards the end of the year I was definitely concentrating on my artwork. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and let me know what you think of my artwork back then. It's when I was age 16 and I'm 25 now, so 9 years ago. I think there's definitely been an improvement, but please let me know if there has. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more art from me. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.